Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft2 Legacy of the Void. And today for your Sunday series, it is a best of 5 between uThermal and Serral. Starting here on Lost and Found from their best of 5 series from Home Story Cup 2018, the one that happened just a few weeks ago. Bottom left-hand corner is going to be the player from Finland and Ents Gaming. It is Serral. Oh, by the way, he's Zerg, and he's red too. And in the top right-hand corner, the blue Terran player, it is uThermal from Root Gaming. And he's Dutch, and he's blue. And it's blue versus red here, guys. They really make you do blue versus red in these major tournament settings, which I'm okay with. Like, I don't complain about it or anything, but check out the proxy here from uThermal real quick. Real quick, man. We got 2 SCVs out early. There's nothing at home. That is your sign that you're in trouble. And look at this. The Overlord scouting north and the Overlord scouting kind of along the southern path here, and neither one of them are going to see this thing. Serral, man, I understand. I get it. I get that you don't want to drone scout. You feel like it puts you behind economically. But boy, howdy, look at this. Look at this right here. It just right on your front doorstep. You have no idea it is happening at all. I love this Overlord scouting paths. Most of the time, this will find stuff. Most of the time, this will find barracks that are coming up inside your territory, but not today. Not today at all, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, there's the bunker once again. Blind to this because buildings that are being built have the vision range of like 0.5. It's not even 1. Okay, I think it's 1, but anyway. Yeah, man, I don't know. Dude, Serral, your spawning pool is not even close to done here. You really got to pull drones to stop this from happening, and SCV is going to come in like, hey, dude, just scouting. Actually, didn't even see that either, did it? This one comes in onto the creep. Tries to see, is there double gas? Is there maybe a pool already done somewhere around here? No, definitely not. The Marines are out. The drone comes down and says, wait, what? What is this? There's a bunker here. Oh my goodness gracious. And 3 Marines and an SCV. That's how drones sound, by the way. Immediate spine, immediate roach warren, immediately trying to do something to save his natural base. He's not going to be able to save it, though, you guys. Look at the Marine production. They're still coming. There's a factory coming up behind this. 2 Lings are just not enough. The Lings immediate evacuate into the main base. Maybe trying to kill this SCV. Can they get it? The SCV is pretty zippy, and it does manage to escape. Nicely done, Mr. SCV. I like the spine. Oh, did he cancel the Roach Warren? Dude, he canceled the Roach. Serral decided we're just going for it here in game number 1. We're just going for it with the Lings and the drones. Dude, that bunker is full, though. Oh, my gosh, the bunker is full. The Marines on the backside are staying alive so well, too. This is fully 7 Marines firing. None of them are dead yet. The target firing by uThermal is just disgusting. The bunker trying to get taken down, but every single drone is dying here. The bunker ends up surviving somehow, but then it finally goes down. Queen's getting target fired. Drone's getting target fired. It is 5 workers for Serral, and bam! uThermal with the quick right out of the gates. Hey, Serral, what up? Remember me? I'm uThermal. I can do anything. I can cheese. I can long distance play. I can mid game. I can do whatever I want to do. And you didn't find my early game stuff, and I got the win. Nice job, uThermal. What a boss. What a disgustingly good play from him there, taking down the reigning BlizzCon champion here at Home Story Cup. Just with the regular old proxy shenanigans, because Serral refused to scout. All right, man, it's a best of 5. Serral, you're down 1. It's not a good place to be. Let's see how he responds in future games. We'll check those out. Stay with me. Game 2 is going to be on Dreamcatcher. We've got Liquid Thermal in the top left, and then Serral just far away in the bottom right. It's one of the longest rush distances in the previous map pool. And for those of you who missed Dreamcatcher, you're welcome. Those of you who have PTSD from Dreamcatcher, I'm very, very sorry. Remember when tanks used to siege up right about here and shell your third base? Yeah, Pepperidge Farm remembers. Dang, that meme is so old. So old, Falcon. Couldn't your brain have come up with a newer one? Let's see. None come to mind. None that work as well as Pepperidge Farm. That's for sure. Came from the Family Guy, which, I don't know, it has its moments, but the longer it goes on, the worse it gets. And we were talking about Peanuts the other day, a friend and I. And Peanuts is just the Charlie Brown comic strip that was written by Charles Schultz until about 2000 or 2001. He started in 50? Like 1950, 1951. 50 years he wrote daily the Peanuts comic strip. Look at this pool first from Serral, by the way. He's like, hey, man, just in case there are more shenanigans, I'm going to go pool first into hatch. Don't mind me. Just being safe here. Thermal's like, yeah, we know. Don't worry about it. I'm just throwing up my barracks at home. But the first 10 years of Peanuts is amazing. It's dark. It's humorous. It's got some interesting insights into life in it. Like, Charlie Brown is truly a sad sack that everybody literally hates and, like, rips on for no reason, because sometimes that's how life is, man. And it's just, there are some really, really good strips in that first 10 years. And then from that point on, it just steadily goes downhill into the garbage that it was in the 90s when I was reading it. Right? I'm reading Peanuts because it's in the newspaper, because it's the biggest comic strip of all time. And, I'm reading it, and I'm going, what? Why do people like this stuff? And it's because they loved it in the 50s. And it just hung around through inertia for another 40 years. It's amazing. Anyway, Reaper heading on out here. Going to go ahead and intercept these lings, no problem. But it just, I kind of wonder sometimes what would happen to Calvin and Hobbes if Bill Watterson had kept going with that for another 40 years. Dude, Reaper, you don't know there are lings coming up. Calvin and Hobbes is, in my opinion, the greatest comic strip of all time. I'm younger, right? I'm younger than some people who know some of the older true classics that came up a long time ago. But dude, these lings are getting in. These lings are getting in. Are you kidding? The Reaper is trying to do stuff, but there's queens for defense. What is to defend back here? There's a Marine. There's a Marine here. These lings are inside the house. uThermal, how did you miss this? Were you microing the Reaper back home? Seems entirely possible. Eventually, the lings are actually, this is a micro battle, isn't it? Oh, like a bunch of SCVs and a Marine versus some slow lings. Can you keep the Marine alive? uThermal failed on that one, unfortunately, and the Reaper died too, but the lings decided to go home. Two lings can't really do a whole lot on their own. You can keep them alive, maybe doing some scouting for a little bit, but that's a Hellion follow-up from uThermal, so no. But anyway, the point is, I feel like Calvin and Hobbes, Bill Watterson saw the writing on the wall. He knew he wasn't going to be able to keep it up at the level he was happy with for another, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years. And he hung it up. He hung it up at the top of his game. And he feels okay about that. He's never come back. He's never talked about resurrecting Calvin and Hobbes in any way. He's never talked about monetizing it to get some extra money in his old age. No, he's done. He is one of my heroes because of that. He could have made $1 billion on merchandising Calvin and Hobbes, and he just didn't do it. He didn't care. He'd rather keep his art pure and keep it intact and keep it what he wants it to be. So I just wonder if Calvin and Hobbes was running now and it was into its 30th year at this point, what if it would be horrible, if it would sully the memory of the original Calvin and Hobbes. Because right now, the current stuff, the latest stuff in Peanuts, right, the stuff that runs syndicated in the newspapers is dumb and it's bad, and there's a whole generation, multiple generations, who think that Peanuts sucks. Well, why do we have this? And the answer is because it was great its first 10 years, and then it was horrible. I like the Queen block here, by the way, against the Hellions. Hellions can't get anything done against that. This ramp is very, very nice leading into the natural base. Third base coming up for Serral at a pretty good time. It's a little bit later than it otherwise would be, but he was trying to get some ling aggression done. It didn't do a whole lot, but it was not too bad. Did he kill any workers? I guess he killed 3. He killed 3 SCVs in the early game there, which is fine. uThermal going for some standard stuff, just Hellions. Is he supply blocked? Oh my gosh. He is a little bit supply blocked temporarily there, going for Cloak for the Banshees. And Hellions just trying to dash around. They do have map control right now. Zerglings can't really do a whole lot on the offensive side of things, which is why we're getting a Roach Warren for Serral. Very smartly throwing up Spore Crawlers too, as he just doesn't know what's going on here inside. Actually, did he scout that? He might have poked in with the Overlord and seen this Tech Lab starport and was like, all right, cool. Cloaked Banshees are a serious option right now. I'm going to go ahead and throw down Spore Crawlers just to be sure. Do you ever regret having Spore Crawlers in your base? Although, if you watched me and Somicron play 2v2 ladder at the Diamond 3 level, you would think that I do hate Spore Crawlers because I don't make them as much as I should. And it really frustrates Somicron from time to time. He's like, dude, do you hate Spore Crawlers? No, I like them. I just forget to make them sometimes. And even sometimes he'll be like, dude, they've got oracles. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. My queen can handle it. That is not true. Hellbat attack from uThermal, though. Boom, sakalaka. Getting rid of all of those drones. Some roaches and queens are here. And are 3 roaches and 3 queens enough to handle 6 Hellbats? Really? I don't think so. Man, maybe the roaches. Maybe it's just the roaches I need to work on. Meanwhile, Ling's at the front door trying to get stuff done. Nope. Shutting that down. No problem. And yeah, this Hellbat attack just absolutely does nothing at all. All right, note to self. If you want to handle this on the ladder, you get a Roach Warren in about 4 minutes. Have some roaches out and some queens. You don't have to make all the roaches in the world, just a few. And you can chase these Hellbats back to where they came from. I've died to Hellbat attacks so many times on ladder. It's sad. It's a sad, sad experience. Anyways. Anywho, which is one of my favorite podcast personalities says. And again, it's not hers necessarily, but anyway, I'm rambly today. I'm rambly for your Sunday cast. Some Saturdays when I'm casting this are long days for me. I wake up before 6 a.m. to cast for Infinity Gaming. We're moving that back a couple hours, by the way. If you want to watch me cast some high-level stuff, I cast Clem versus Namshar earlier today. It was a great series. Clem, man, he's really stepped up his game in the last 2 or 3 months. He's going to be a scary force to come here in 2019 WCS. But it's over on IGX Pro. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to watch me cast some really high-level live StarCraft. Right? This is replay. It's fun. But you guys really like live StarCraft 2. Is that Banshee going to die? Oh my gosh, Banshee picked off. There is no dead airspace over here at all. Not whatsoever. This Banshee does get some stuff done. Has 4 kills, 4 drones going down. Only 1 queen to defend here. And all the queens were busy with this one. So I guess that was a decoy is what it was. But anyway, we're moving it back. It's going to start at 10 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday instead of 8 a.m. Eastern time. And it should maybe get to more viewers. It should be a little bit more attractive to the average person, the average StarCraft fan on a Saturday morning in the United States anyway. I don't know how this affects the EU necessarily. But yeah, get out of here. Get out of here, friends. Cloak Banshee, no. 3rd base up. 4th base on the way from Serral. But uThermal sitting on these 3 bases. Very happy. Very comfortably going for, ooh, the Maglev Accelerator for Cyclones. That doubles the damage done by lock-on from 400 to 800 versus armored stuff. 800 damage over a lock-on is so good. It's so good against roaches. It's decent against hydras just because they don't have much HP anyway. And the bonus doesn't matter. Marine Scout and stuff over here gets mauled. That's a rough scouting assignment there, dude. Go stand over here in the grass and wait for Lings to come and murder you and report it before you die. Thanks, dude. No problem, sir, he says, and gets murdered by Lings promptly. Alright, Hellbats, Cyclones, pushing on in. We're race car meching right now. We have seen uThermal do this against players as good as... Who did he do this against recently? I want to say it was... Golly, who was the Zerg with the race car mech? I want to say it was Raynor. It was probably Raynor. It was that young kid over there. And what's the answer? How's Serral going to handle this race car mech? Because we've seen it destroy Zergs. We saw sort of got handled by it with Fantasy when I was casting for Africa World 29. Hellbats defending against the Lings in the 3rd base. If you're not watching those as well, I know it's Africa. I know it's not your favorite side of the world, but I'm casting live StarCraft, y'all. If you want to come support me, there are places and times you can be there to support and watch me cast live. Anyway. Yeah, so we're race car meching here. This is what Pig calls it, where you just go basically Hellion, Cyclone, some Banshees in there. It's the fastest form of mech that is possible, right? It's way faster than like Thor's, way faster than tanks, and it just can be in a lot of places at once. And then the kiting is amazing. The kiting with the Cyclones is pretty fantastic. The Banshees are going to try to take down the spawning pool, which is kind of a big deal. Honestly, maybe some drones. If they want to sit here and mine while there are Banshees about, that's definitely their prerogative. Here come the Queens. Do that spawning pool is in trouble. The transfuses should keep it alive. And the Queens pushing back the Banshees should do a little bit more to keep it alive too. Serral taking a 5th base up at the goal tier in the top right-hand corner. uThermal is falling behind on expansion timings. He is going for a 4th base, but here comes Race Car Mech. Blue Flame Hellions, man. And Cyclones getting that lock-on. Banshees firing as well. Look at this. Serral's trying to retreat from it. Retreating from this is so friggin' hard. You just lose units all the time. Serral not retreating. He's pushing it. Oh, did he get Lings inside? He snuck Lings into the natural base. That's not even fair. That's not even fair. Why was that wall up, uThermal? No, the Banshees are just having a field. Look at these Banshees. Look how many Banshees there are. There are 7 Banshees. Hyperflight Rotors is on the way. The rest of the race car mech wanders on back down to the 3rd base. And they're going to go ahead and whack this thing too. Just because, again, Cyclones with the Maglev upgrade just wipe buildings out from existence. There's nothing to do about it. There's some abducting. We saw sort of try that against Fantasy. We got some more Lings in here at the 3rd base causing some problems. So that is 22 SCVs killed. 25 overall. 16 drones have gone down here. 2 overall in the game. It is 48 to 75 workers. Serral is up big time in economy. He has the secret base in the top right that uThermal does not know about. And he does know about that one, though. He knows about the 4th, which has not really been bothered except for that attempted Hellbat attack earlier and expanding again. Okay, so I think Serral's plan here is, in general, if you're going against any kind of mech, expand 100 times. Mech is a lot slower. Mech is a lot less able to do multi-pronged harassment, although these Banshees with the Hyperflight, man, look how fast they are. They are so fast. They're faster than Hydras with the speed upgrade. That said, be careful. All right, there's the cloak. And where's your Overseer? The Overseer's a little bit further away. Parasitic Bomb would be nice to toss down here if the Overseers can keep up. That is the problem, is that Overseers, even with the speed upgrade, cannot keep up with Hyperflight rotored Banshees. And so, sure, you can chase them down with Mutos because Mutos are faster, but the Overseers can't keep up. So if they're Cloak Banshees, good luck taking them down. Hellions roasting away at this attempted replacement. Oh, this is the 4th. I guess this is the 4th. Keeping those numbers straight. Servo upgrade on the way, allowing units like Hellions to transform more quickly, which is fantastic. Oh, some free Hellions. That's no big deal. I don't think uThermal cares about that, but picking off some free Hydralisks here, man. Resources lost 6,800 for Serral, 5,000 period. Free Thermal. Oh, careful, Dougal that way. Oh, that was just bad pathing. That was just bad pathing. This is exactly what sort of was trying. He was going for a Hydralisk, Roach, Ravager, Viper strategy, and it just wasn't working for him at all. I mean, Fantasy is probably a better player than uThermal is. In fairness, the execution thereof probably better, but my goodness, look at the damage output on these Banshees. They have upgrades? They don't, but they did force a cancel on that hatchery, which is huge, but this is alive, and he still doesn't know about this base, although he sees the creep spread, so he has to assume there is a base over here to take care of. He's heading that way now with a bunch of Cyclones and whatnot. There's an Abduct on a Banshee, does get picked off there. That's the thing with Abduct. It's not an insta-kill. The Abduct will get some proximity changes to how close you are to the unit, but it won't actually kill it for you. I've seen many times units that get abducted, and they just wander right back over to their side of the attack, and they're fine. It's kind of hilarious. Greater Spire coming in from Serral. We did see sort of try to go for the Greater Spire, but it was just the Broodlords were too slow to defend anything. They were too slow at all. The spawning pool is going to get taken down. I mean, that was easy as pie. Extractor getting taken out. How much gas is there? 1,134. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. But yeah, Banshees. Trying to get rid of these queens, but that's a lot of queens all of a sudden. And suddenly the Banshees are having a real bad time, and they're forced to flee from that location. 4th base up for uThermal. It is currently 199 to 159 supply. Serral's maxed out. He's working on +2 Carapace. Missile attack level 3 finished. Vehicle plating level 3 finished here too for uThermal. And Serral setting up to push on this 4th a little bit. Blinding Cloud on that Planetary Fortress would be pretty amazing. And there it is. There's your Blinding Cloud. The target fire of these Hydras is so good. Oh my gosh. That died so fast. Hydralisks, man, especially if they have that +3 missile attack upgrade. Hit like trucks. The trade-off is that they are flimsy. Pack it on in here again. Hydra is trying to stand against Blue Flame Hellions, and Cyclone's not really going to work out for you guys. Not at all, as it turns out. Wha-bam, wha-bam, wha-bam. A lock-on the hatchery. They can go ahead and keep firing while moving away with that kiting ability, but not enough damage output to actually take down the hatch. Hydra is chasing on creep. Do they want to chase off creep is the question. I don't know if you want to do that. Serral wants to chase off creep, everybody. All right, man. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to do stuff that other Zerg players cannot accomplish. Abduct, abduct, abduct. More Cyclones getting focused down. Bam, 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 bam. Nicely done, but if some more Banshee attacks on over here. Enough Hydras and an Overseer to defend against this. And Hydralisks knocking down the Great Wall of Supply Depots, protecting the 3rd base of uThermal. 4th base getting re-landed up here after it got murdered just a second ago. And abduct, abduct, abduct. Blue Flame Hellions getting the flank in here on these Hydras, though, especially with Banshee support. Gonna do okay, but still a bunch of Hydras are alive. They are living. Some SCVs getting picked off as peripheral damage right now. It is suddenly 199 to 119 supply. The Hydras with the upgrades seem to be key here. They just don't take that bonus damage, and bam, Serral comes back and ties up the series 1-1. What a play. What a play from Serral there. And that was it, man. It was just, it was Hydras. It was upgraded Hydras with +3 missile attack. We had the range, we had the speed upgrade, and that's all he needed, man. He could stand in there. He could fight. He could chase. He wasn't taking bonus damage from the lock-on ability at all. He could afford to replace the Hydras pretty well because he expanded a couple extra times to where uThermal was not. He sniped off a base of uThermals. He was aggressive with it. That's something sort of struggled with in that match against Fantasy, was killing any of Fantasy's bases. He just didn't have the time. He didn't feel like to even threaten one. And as a result, he was everywhere. Fantasy was everywhere on the map. uThermal, 4 bases, the 15-minute mark is pretty standard, and Serral just happily sitting on his 6. that might have been it. I mean, that might be what it comes down to. We'll see how game number 3 goes here. uThermal succeeding with some cheese, with some proxy barrack stuff. Serral succeeding versus Race Car Mech with Hydras and Vipers. And is that pretty much it? Just Hydra, Viper, really. Some Roaches and Ravagers in there from time to time, but at this point in the game, it's just Hydra, man. It's Hydra, Queen, Viper. Done. He had the ability to go to Broodlords if he wanted to, and I felt like, especially in that sort of versus fantasy game, getting into Broodlords was a fine idea if you were being offensive with them, right? If you're pushing into your opponent's bases, that's fine with the Broodlords. But if you're defending with them, they're just too slow. You get hit over here, the Broodlords are over here, they have to walk clear across, and by the time they get here, it's too late, the base is dead. They're horrible at base defense, they're really, really good at offense. They're a sieging unit. All right, cool. So let's get game 3 up in here in just a minute. It's going to be blue shift for game number 3 here between uThermal and Serral. Top right-hand corner, Terran. Bottom left-hand corner, Zerg. Remember how in Toy Story the villain's name was Zerg with a U? I was kind of upset about that when Toy Story came out because Brood War predated it. Wait, hold on. When the heck was Toy Story released? I want to say late 90s, but that's when Brood War was released, 1998. Okay, hang on a second real quick. uThermal, don't proxy. Don't proxy. Hold on just a second. I mean, can you do that twice against Serral in the same series? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So, we got Toy Story. I mean, in fairness, I'm really fairly sure. 1999. Oh, hang on. Hang on! Was my anger misplaced, ladies and gentlemen? 95 for Toy Story. Good golly, I take it all back. But oh, they didn't introduce Zerg until Toy Story 2, which was 99. Okay, good. Okay, good. All of my righteous indignation was entirely righteous, and I feel better about myself now. Okay, so back to StarCraft. Back to the StarCraft aspect of this. Serral not doing anything crazy at all. Hatchcast pooling it. Actually, was that a pool first? By golly, he went pool first again. He's like, you know what? I was fine pool firsting against uThermal in the last game. I really don't feel like drone scouting. I'd rather just pool first here, so no big deal. Reaper on the way. Let's name this Reaper because I didn't name the last one. Reaper's name is Granny Rose. One day, Emperor Mengsk went to the bank. He wanted to appear relatable to his subjects. Just an average man by doing normal things like shopping, going to the park, and reconstructing a dead eldritch horror from beyond time. However, Emperor Mengsk found himself in line behind Granny Rose. She informed the cashier that she was going to deposit some. After spending what felt like hours counting all the pennies up, Granny realized that she made a mistake and started counting all over again. Granny was arrested, tried for treason, and sent to the front lines as a Reaper within an hour. Sorry, Granny. That's why you don't go to the bank at the same time as Emperor Mengsk. Do these Lings got in again? They didn't do anything, did they? They got an SCV. That's fine. Man, once again, just keep that door shut. That's all we really got to do. Might have killed actually the SCV building this command center. Is entirely what is possible there. Anyway, the Reaper comes back home to clean this out. Granny, she's doing her job pretty well. Like, surprisingly well here. That Zergling dies. This Zergling is not going to make it home. Speed is nowhere near complete. And it does take several shots for a Reaper to kill you. But now, you are toast. You are toast with the most. It is going to be a starport here, too. From uThermal, double gas. Expansion complete. Expansion successful. And a third base coming up from Serral at the 3-minute mark, just north of his natural. All right, so what is... I really kind of feel like... what's going to happen here is up to uThermal. Does he want to go bio? Great. We'll see what Serral does versus that. Probably going to be some Banelings, right? Some Hydras, some Lings, maybe some Mutas. We're going to see that Race Car Mech, probably a lot of Hydras. And are we going to go straight up Mech? In which case, what the heck do you do versus straight up Mech these days in StarCraft 2? Granny! Oh, Granny Rose. Granny Rose bit the dust hard there, getting killed by a Queen. I gotta say, probably the most frequent cause of death for a Reaper is Queen shot, right? Queen stabbing him through the faceplate with some spines or whatnot. Seems entirely possible. Righto, Viking on the way. Viking used to clear out these pesky overlords that do the scouting. Hellions moving out. There's nothing invisible, nothing hidden from this overlord. It can see all. It knows all. It reports all, at least until the Viking shoots it. in its giant bulbous gas sacks and causes it to explode and fall to the earth. Where's my Viking? Says uThermal. I need my Viking, and there it is. And the Marines did some good work on it. The Marine, rather, did some good work on it, but the carcass ends up falling to the floor. Breen was like, do you want to say Caracas? No, man. That's a different thing. That's a city I want to say in Mexico. Carcass is the word. Oh, canceling the creep tumor instantly as soon as those Hellions showed up. Good timing there from Serral. Losing creep tumors is not anything you want to do. Oh, hold on. We got a battlecruiser opening here from uThermal. All right, I'm down. I'm done with battlecruiser. Should have moved the camera over a little bit and seen the fusion core coming up, and I wouldn't have gotten my hopes up. I would have assumed it was for Liberator range, but no, not at all. It's for a battlecruiser opening here. Now, the answer to battlecruisers, as that Viking gets picked out, is going to be a lot of queens. 5 queens up. Spore crawlers too, extremely useful. This time, no spores. As did the Overlord get the scout? The Overlord got the scout, right? Saw the Viking come out. Just assumed maybe it was just a Viking. There we go. Spores now starting to come up in each of these 3 bases. And it's going to be a harder time for the battlecruiser to do anything. This build time is insanely long. Look how slow that progress bar is. Look how slow it is. I don't know, man. It's stupid, slow. Stupid, slow. Hellions cruising on to the 3rd base, trying to get some stuff done. And really, there's a small window to roast up every single one of these drones if they so want to. All right, here goes nothing. Oh, the drone's getting pulled. Nice job. Nice job. Saw the Hellions coming in. That's why the Overlord is on the edge of the creep to provide additional sight range that the creep cannot see. See all this? See all that? That is what the creep cannot see. So Hellion downed it. All the Hellion... Wait. Did he catch all of them out here? So these guys came in. They retreated, as they should do. The Lings went cruising out on a little mission. Dude, that was a lot of Hellions, though. There's no way. Oh, this guy died. And these guys just moved up to the zone like a watchtower. Okay. That's better. That's a better situation for them to find themselves in. I was like, dang, uThermal didn't lose all of those, did he? Is it a defensive battlecruiser? Defensive BC is actually really good against Roach Ravager all-ins. Really great against a 2-3 base timing here with Roaches and Ravagers. If there are Queens, it's a different story, but just the Roach Ravager, none of them can hit the battlecruiser in any meaningful way. Unless the BC can't dodge Corrosive Vials, which is just not a thing in the hands of somebody as good as uThermal is. When your APM is 400, you have plenty of APM available to dodge Corrosive Vials as a battle cruiser. That said, they're a little slow, right? And their acceleration isn't amazing. And if they're not careful, they can get Corrosive Vial damaged. Corrosive Vial damaged pretty significantly. Hey, Lings, working on these rocks. No, you leave those rocks alone. I'm going to roast up some of your creep tumors here too. Just slowing down the creep spread is always something you need to be doing. Right, where Zerg needs to be spreading creep, Terran and Protoss need to be denying creep as much as they can. It's easier for Terran. They have zippier units that do well against creep tumors, as opposed to Zerg, who has to send like an entire Zealot or 2 out with an Observer to do that, which we don't see a lot of that dedicated action. Not all that much anyway. Overseer flying in, I mean, he's not really hiding the battlecruiser. I'm not sure it's a big deal. Although there's another BC on the way from uThermal. All right, man. Multiple battlecruiser play here. I think I'm on board with. I think I can accept this into my life. Hellions, picking off more creep tumors, at least setting them on fire, if not killing them straight up. Lock on, even without the Maglev upgrade, will take down an Overseer, no problem, over the course of that lock on. Zergling's trying to see, is there a 4th base down here possibly? Because we know about the 3rd. We haven't seen it, but we can assume that it's there. Lings, no, getting chased away by these Hellions. 4th base on the way from Serral. He's working on a Spire. He's getting a Baneling Nest. He's working on some Roaches, but it looks like we're going to go for some Corruptors. Corruptor is a beautiful answer to battlecruiser in almost every possible way. That said, battlecruisers can do this thing where they attack you, and then while you murder them with the Corruptors, if you don't one-shot them, they just teleport away. And it's minorly frustrating. Anyway, creep spreading on out. 3rd base done for uThermal. He's just, man, it's just battlecruisers and Hellions and Cyclones. And I mean, it's not race car mech here, but there aren't any Thors and there aren't any tanks, so it's not traditional mech either. We need a name for this. What the heck is Cyclone Hellion battlecruiser mech? It's not fast. It is fairly slow. Someone's got to come up with a name for it so I can start using it here. That's how this works. Hellbat transformation complete. Banelings in production. They don't have centrifugal hooks yet, which makes them not as good. All right, so battlecruiser Hellbat splitting here against the Banelings, taking some shots. Queens fighting. It's a nice concave of Banelings, Queens, and Roaches here. And you know what? That is absolutely shut down. Oh, are we going to corrosive bile this thing down? Oh, remember what I said about dodging corrosive biles? Ooh, took some damage. Took some hits from it there, and Serral shut that thing down about as well as you can. So Baneling's getting hits off. Roach's in there too. Queen's focusing down the battle cruisers. Corrosive biles doing what they can here. And limping on home are the BCs. 1 kill and 0 kill each. That is some disappointing performance, my friends. Disappointing performance from someone so distinguished as a battle cruiser captain. Who called in the fleet? I used to have a really great shirt that's had Who Called the Fleet in there with a House Terran, kind of like a Game of Thrones StarCraft combo. Do I still have the design for that? I might need to start selling that again. All right, man. Blue Flame Hellions doing pretty well against these Lings and these drones. Ugh, no, couldn't get another. And one more shot off on these drones would have been catastrophic for Serral, but he only loses 10 in the process. So he's fine. Additional factories on the way. Banshees coming in. Hyperflight Rotors on the way from uThermal too. But oh, this is looking pretty busty to me. When you're making 13 Banelings, and they have centrifugal hooks. Oh, the battlecruiser wanders on in. I don't think he's even used a jump yet, so he can. Oh, the Corruptors, though. That's a jump. Tactical jump. Just immediate, just tactical jump on out. We're done. We scouted this. We see it. Here come the Ravagers, the Corruptors, the Banelings. 18 more Banelings morphing in here. And the Banelings going for it, man. They're going to bust on in, trying to knock down this wall. The wall is down. Target firing. The few Hellbats getting crushed as well. They're lock on the Corruptors, doing pretty well as Corruptors are armored. But yikes, it's 108 to 59 armor supply. The Banelings are crashing on in. Does he have detection? He does have detection here. The Corruptors are cleaning out the Banshees. They don't even have that speed upgrade yet. High ground here on the Cyclones. Third base. If you're going to retreat into your natural, says Serral, I'm going to go ahead and wander over to your third and maybe throw down some Caustic Spray. Yes. Throw down Caustic Spray whenever you can. The Cyclones are going to try to stop this thing, but I don't think they can. Oh, they do. It's enough. It's enough. The Roaches and Ravagers are still around, though, repairing up this planetary fortress, which is really the lifeblood of the third and keeping it alive. We do have a battlecruiser jump back here to the fourth base, but nope, enough Queens to shove that guy away. Just wandering on into the natural. There are some Banshees defending in this location, and just more Lings in production here. Hyperflight Rotors is done. Not really as useful in a defensive capacity, but still pretty good. Spore Crawler burrowing in. Battlecruiser says, no. No, thank you. No, thank you, senor. No, 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 por favor. And, oh, he doesn't even. Oh, man. All right, doesn't even. He could have escaped. Except there were Corruptors flying home, so maybe not at that stage. Resources lost, 8,700 for uThermal, 7,900 for Serral. It has been 11 workers killed by uThermal, about 3 from Serral, so not crazy economic damage done, although he was right in the natural base, all over the third base. Almost getting into the main here, too. Surprisingly few SCV deaths in that situation. Hive on the way from Serral, getting 10 Banelings at a time now. I like the Banelings. I really do. They're not bad against Cyclones. Cyclones aren't light, but they don't have much HP. If you can just hit them with stuff, it's considered a win. 195 to 152 supply. Again, a pretty major army supply lead here for Serral, 107 to 89. And trying to sneak on up. We got some Banelings. Oh, this Great Wall of Supply Depots is done. And then enough Banelings to wander in to actually do some stuff in this mineral line. Oh my gosh, yes. All right, 10 SCVs down. Big attack coming on into the natural base at the same time. The multi-prong stuff is disgusting from Serral here. 15 SCVs killed. Everything dead that Zerg, though, and Serral does have to retreat with a handful of Roaches and Ravagers and some Corruptors. And Serral does manage to retreat from there. But again, just major hits on economy here. It's 55 to 87 workers in favor of the Zerg player. He's going Banelings. He's going Ravagers. He's got 5 bases. He's very happily on. uThermal is only on 2. Income here really showing that disparity. 2,800 minerals per minute for Serral compared to 800, 900-ish for uThermal. He's spending his money as fast as he gets it, but he's just not getting it fast enough at this stage of the game. Not when we're 13 minutes into a Legacy of the Void match. Expanding in the top left is Serral. And more Banelings, man. 15 more Banelings in production. Crunky. Is there an interface that's WCS-ish that also will show me the number of units lost in a game that I can look at afterwards? Let me know in the comments. All right, so Banelings crashing on through here again. Just absolutely going after the Cyclones. They're their targets. And you know what? In an offensive capability, Cyclone's not as good. They can't kite, right? And that's it. Serral gets the win. takes the 2-1 lead in this best of 5 series, rolling on into this mineral line. Yeah, that's the scary stuff there. I mean, these guys are just like, we don't care about your army. We're just heading right for those juicy, delicious SCVs. It is 42 armor supply for uThermal. He has 6 Cyclones and 4 Banshees, period, to defend with right now, and it's just not enough. It's just not enough. I mean, sure, they could hold this against this particular attack, but he knew. He knew Serral was expanding behind this. He knew there was just too much damage being done. The income disparity was disgusting, and he tapped out. So maybe a little premature, but he saw the writing on the wall. So one more game to go here. Serral does have that delicious 2-1 lead in a best of 5, where you just need to win one more game to move on. Does uThermal have it within him to pull out a win and force a game 5 in this series? Don't know. Stick with me, and we'll find out together. Right, Acid Plant here for game number 4. Top left-hand corner, Serral. Bottom right-hand corner, uThermal. All right, so uThermal, your back is against the wall. And you better have something great, unless you want to be eliminated in this game from Home Story Cup. Maybe you should try proxying again. Serral has no interest in drone scouting ever, you guys. No interest at all, even though he lost game 1. He just says, I'll just go pool first. That'll be just fine. And yeah, I think he's okay. Let's see what he does here. And no, hatch first here. Hatch first for Serral. And there it is. Wait, there it is. And all of its Zergy glory. Pink and disgusting and looking like jello. Is uThermal going to go command center first? Dang, son. CC first here from uThermal? All right, I'm down. I'm down. He's like, you know what? I'm going to be greedier than Serral is. If Serral's going to try to go for pool first here, I'm going to go ahead and go command center first. It'll allow my command center to get it done faster. And that way, it's not going to be threatened by Lings. But in this case, it's even better because it allows him to get to base about the same time that Serral does. And if you're on equal footing with the Zerg, economically, you're in a pretty fantastic spot. So honestly, command center first against Zerg, it might as well honestly just be kind of the standard here. Let's see how uThermal handles this, right? Because he's obviously getting up a barracks up very quickly, going for double gas behind it here. Because he knows, if this is a 12 pool, if this is early Lings from Serral, he's got Lings on the way very, very quickly. This is a pretty long rush distance map. You probably can't pull this off on something like Cerulean Fall. But on this map, it does seem pretty darn viable. You just build it, and even if some Lings come in, you just lift. And then you get enough Marines or a couple Hellions or whatever and shoo them away, and then you're good to go. No problem. So spawning pool done. Serral is preparing for an incoming Reaper, and there is one on the way, but it's going to be late. This Reaper's name is Andrew Ryan. Andrew Ryan had one simple question. Is a man entitled to the sweat of his brow? He answered, yes. To escape oppression in all forms, Andrew Ryan went under the ocean and built Rapture, a city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. Several years later, Dominion forces discovered Rapture and sent in an expedition. They did not find an objectivist utopia, but a broken-down hellhole with Andrew Ryan ruling over the decayed ruins. The decayed ruins of insane splicers. As the one sane man still left, Andrew Ryan was blamed for everything and sentenced to the Reaper program, forced to be part of the oppressive force he tried to escape. Oh, the irony there, the evil result there from Andrew Ryan. By the way, that's BioShock. If you haven't played the BioShock games, you really should. One is really good. BioShock Infinite is a fantastic time too. It's one of the few games I've played through more than once in my life. It's good, it's beautiful, it's fun. And third base coming down for Serral here, and 2 is good. 2 is good as well, but I don't remember it as fondly as 1 or Infinite. Anyway, we got a SCV wall coming up here. uThermal's like, I got away with it. I got away with command center first against Serral. He didn't even try to shut that thing down at all. I mean, obviously he went third base at like sub 3 minutes, which is cool. Queen here should throw down the inject. Oh, creep spread more important to Serral here than the inject at this point, which is probably fair. I'm down with that. Speed just about done here for Serral. And yeah, we're just going in for a pretty good style macro game here. Andrew Ryan trying to get some stuff done, but you show up late, and there's already 2 or 3 queens buzzing around, and it's just going to be a bad time. It's going to be a real hard time for you. Creep spreading it. Yeah, I mean, extra queens allow you to really get some amazing creep spreads started early, which is kind of key in beating Terran and Protoss. Having that vision is so important. Going for Cloak Banshee again. I believe uThermal's gone for Cloak Banshees in the last 3 games. With the exception, he didn't obviously do it in the first one because that was a proxy and it was over in 2 minutes. But Roach Warren for Serral. He probably can't go crazy with the roaches. None of these games he's been able to go crazy with the roaches because the cyclone count has been so high. But a handful of roaches early to deal with inevitable Hellion or Hellbat pushes can be invaluable. So Queens are here. Roach Warren not quite done yet. Handful of Speedlings. Where are the Hellions going to bounce around and finally show up? Is the question. Look at Serral knocking down his own rocks. That's, I mean, it's a problem. I've seen a lot of Zerg players lose when Terran sets up tanks in this area. It's so hard to dislodge them. They're so wedged in there. But again, I don't know that uThermal's going to go for any tanks. He's going for an armory. So I think these are going to be Hellbats sooner rather than later. The Overlord scouts in, sees pretty much the same thing he's seen every game so far with the Starport and the Tech Lab on it. So the Overlord dies, sacrificing himself, but that's just totally fine. Roach is here to defend the 3rd base. Hellion's not at the 3rd base, though. Might try to sneak into the natural. Just dive right on in there. Holy smokes. Are they going to do it? They're going to get a handful of these Zerglings. Not bad. All right, these are decent trades. Couple Hellions going down. Serral is okay with losing Lings if it means the Hellions are not roasting up his drones. And what on earth? Oh, he's bringing the Queens. He's drop loading the Queens here in an attempt to attack the front door of uThermal. What does uThermal have to defend against this? He's got a couple Banshees. They do have the cloak available. Is there an Overseer? There's an Overseer. So suddenly, Serral's on the warpath right now. 3 Ravagers, no more, no less. Lings in. Okay, 4 Ravagers, no more, no less. And attacking the front door with these Queens. This is such a hard nut to crack. Look at them just lifting the Queens to where the Banshees are. This is incredible. This is amazing stuff. The problem with Queens off creep is they're slow, but with the ability to bring Queens along inside a Drop Lord, they're fast all of a sudden. Oh, this is amazing. The natural base is a ghost town. There are no SCVs here at all. Army supply is 66 to 43, and a lot of that is Hellions, and they're going to Hellbat transform and try to maybe base race this thing, but nope. Not going to happen. Absolutely, 100% no. Queens getting inside your main. Oh my gosh, transfusing each other. This is such an amazing play. SCVs pulling off the line to try to save it, but they're getting stuck in a little choke point. Hellbats trying to save their own lives. They do get a Queen, which is great. Roach is fighting against the Cyclones. 28 SCVs have been killed. Hellbats having a great time at the natural base too. But in a base race scenario, I just don't know. They say never base race a Terran. Did that Overseer get picked off? It did. So the Banshee actually kind of surviving this a little bit. Cyclone down. Banshee's still alive. That Banshee has 5 kills. She's doing her part, man. She's absolutely doing her part to try to keep alive at this point. Some roaches trying to kill these Hellbats. Oh, man. Drones running right into the teeth of that army. Not what you want to see. Lings cruising on down to the natural base. Holding the line a little bit here is a Cyclone, but nope. And the counterattack of Lings looks like it's going to be enough to shut down uThermal's economy pretty intensely. There's only 10 SCVs remaining here. Eventually, Roaches and Queens deal with the Hellbats on the other side of the map. But by golly, it's 7 workers to 39 right now. The Lings ring around the rosying it. But so many SCV deaths. And I know mules are good, and I know we've seen Terran players come back, but 50 SCV kills in the first 8 minutes of a game is a death sentence. It's 44 to 4 workers. Serral is pretty happily on 3 bases, basically saturated as much as he wants to right now. And yeah, uThermal, he knows if he's done, he's done. He wants to push on in Home Story Cup. He really does. But it's just not looking great. It is not looking great for uThermal, and I just don't know what else to say about it. Look, he's even going 3 factories, probably for the Cyclones again. Could be for tanks, but probably not, considering we haven't seen him really make any tanks in the entire series. Did he make any in game 2? Honestly, I don't believe he did. So the Banshees are like, can we win this thing by ourselves? No, definitely not. Too many Queens, too much Overseer play here, and that's your good game. Well played, and Serral ends up winning the series 3-1. uThermal fought hard, played hard, but man, Serral is just so scary. Just offensively, defensively. Ended up losing, what, 16 workers in that game. Not too crazy, but I love that build that he did here in Game 4. Bringing the queens along with the drop lord, the roaches, the ravagers. The queens were the key to the whole thing. Banshees can usually shut down a roach ravager attack, no problem. But queens come along with an overseer, and suddenly it's much harder to do, and suddenly you lose 50 SCVs. Just what else can I say about it? All right, well, that is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft2 Legacy of the Void and your Sunday series featuring Serral and uThermal. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.
you.